Yeah, hey there, hi there, ho there. Any Tool Time fans out there? Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay, good.
Got,
welcome to the
what was the
Sixers Talk
neighbor's name?
podcast.
What was the neighbor's name?
Right.
Wilson, right?
Wilson, yeah, you can only see, welcome to the Sixers Talk podcast. Look at the light hitting Noah's eyes right there.
Oh, that's nice. Did you plan that, Noah?
Look at Noah.
Just golden hour, they call it.
Yeah. It is the golden hour.
Well,
golden hour at 4:26. Sun is setting.
He's ready for his close-up with that. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the Sixers Talk podcast. Always ready to have a good time here. We're brought to you by Wilmington University, Wilmu Works, Danny Pomels, Noah Levick, Amy Fadul. Noah enjoying the golden hour as well as fresh off the Sixers practice facility where we have a few injury updates. Of course, the Sixers, a couple wins, couple losses, a bit on the seesaw here. But Joel Embiid, Noah, we haven't seen him since November 8th. Another really point per minute, 29-point outburst from him. But we are still trying to figure out this right knee soreness. Of course, it was his left knee, which was scoped back in the spring and had some surgery done on it. But the right knee is what's given him trouble and has kept him out since November 8th. Can you give us the latest from the Sixers practice facility and the mouth of Nick Nurse?
Yeah, it was a bit of an unusual scene today. Long time until the media was allowed in for practice. And then we get in there and there's no basketball happening. It's just Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid and a couple other folks talking. So vibes were kind of odd. We did get to hear from Tyrese Maxey, who said he had that shoulder issue pop up last game, but said he's feeling great. I'm not sure how sincere those words were, but definitely didn't sound like someone who expects to miss time. So that's a plus. But yeah, as far as Joel Embiid, Nick Nurse just doesn't have much to say at this point. It's like when the doctors give him the go-ahead, he'll be on the court. Embiid, again, was a full participant in practice, which has been the case on multiple occasions since he's been sidelined. But Nurse did acknowledge, I believe a few days back, that there was still some soreness and some pain there. So obviously, if either of those things are present, Joel Embiid's not going to play. So, yeah, it's been quite a while, as you noted. I believe we've got 7 games that he's missed now. Could very well be 8 tomorrow. And the Sixers keep going with that day-to-day designation. So as of now, the insistence on their end is that there hasn't been any structural damage observed and that Joel Embiid is trending toward a return. But obviously, everyone is very believe it when we see it with his health nowadays, understandably. Has just the 6 games under his belt this season, just the 19 last year. And this is another extended, frustrating stretch for him on the sidelines. So we shall see when he's back. But as of now, he's at least good enough to practice, which tells you something. But as of this afternoon, the Sixers haven't cleared him yet to return to game action.
Amy, I've been bumping into these melt montages on Twitter specifically of Joel Embiid just putting in crazy workout. Fans is longing for him to come back, reflecting on his peak and how good he was. And he's still good. He still has those qualities. It's just how long in a season can he sustain those things? And it's frustrating because here we are almost at the quarter point of the season, 16 games in, and they still haven't had the full complement of guys available. We'll talk a little bit more about Jared McCain, VJ Edgecombe missing his first game as well, but just getting Embiid, George, McCain, like all the guys together to develop some rapport and some continued presence, on the court together, and how these pieces will work interchangeably is frustrating as a Sixers fan. But do you feel like that soon? Do you feel like that might happen before the year is over?
I mean,
let's give it 30 days.
It's wild because I think it was the Raptors game. You saw him warming up beforehand. Right. You thought, oh, this is going to be a good sign. He's warming up. We knew he wasn't playing in that game. They'd already made that announcement, but you saw him out there warming up, taking jumpers and, doing some work on the court. And I thought, wow, that must be like that he's coming very close. And then you heard as Noah mentioned, the full participation at practice. Okay, also good. Still day to day. Listen, I mean, these are all very positive things, and yet we're still waiting for an exact update. And I obviously, as frustrated as we are in the media, the fans are equally frustrated, and Joel Embiid is frustrated. The front office is frustrated. The coach obviously is frustrated because it's out of their control. It's just something that happens, and it's, I believe it when I see it, is exactly the mindset I think a lot of people are. It's, we walked into the season thinking if you got 40 games, about half a season with the full complement, that would be a real win. I mean, and that's where we are in Philadelphia, right? You're thinking you get maybe half a season with the full complement of your players. And now I'm thinking, I don't know if that number's too high. It might be too high. You might be looking at like 25 to 30, which is incredible. That's incredible to think about. But there's just something about this team. You get one, you lose another. Did you want Joel Embiid? You don't get Jared McCain or Paul George. You don't get them both at the same time. So yeah, I don't know. I would think that number is under 40 now for me, for having the full complement fully healthy. It's under 40.
Are we at a new normal here, guys? Is this just
it?
What you
We're
gotta
here.
just take it or leave it, huh?
It's better than last year. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Listen, they started 2-12, Daniel.
Right.
2-12.
Right.
Okay.
I think for me though, it's like, listen, I get it. But rust is going to start being a factor if you're going to keep missing games like this with Embiid, because what we've seen has been promising and encouraging, and it's been, like, woo, like he still has it. There's still something in there that he can explode with and control the game and dominate and things like that. How he fits in the up style tempo, for a full game.
Yeah,
kind of
saw it in the Raptors game that he did play in his last game. I think you saw some of that. He ran the court pretty well, and it was one of his better games as far as seeing him look like he could blend into this offense. But yeah, I mean, you don't know because you haven't seen him out there. You haven't seen him out there with Paul George and VJ Edgecombe and Jared McCain. It's a giant question mark.
Noah, we have been encouraged by what we've seen from Paul George. And listen, if he's going to score the first 11 points of every game, we'll take that. But definitely a guy who's going to show up and bring what he has, it seems like, this season. Were you surprised at all? There was some criticism about, Paul George, how will he fit in the flow of what the Sixers bring? But that has not been an issue at all. If you want to point out things, sure. But him fitting in and this up-tempo style and being able to share the ball and things like that has not been an issue.
Well, he's had 2 bad shooting games out of 3, so that's, I think, notable. But the Milwaukee game was fantastic, and they don't win that game without him being so great. Obviously, Tyrese Maxey, the headliner with 54, but Paul George scored the first 11 and just really good on both ends. But he's got a 2 for 9 and a 3 for 10 in there. So the toward 8 sort of games, the Sixers will hope those become a little less regular as he gets more minutes under his belt. But yeah, not surprised that stylistically it's looked like a smooth adjustment. I think Paul George has always been huge on trying to let the game come to him, and he even said after his debut that was a little awkward for him because he knows he has this minute restriction and maybe he wants to try to force it a little more, just knowing that he has limited time on the court. But I think regardless, his default mode is to try to mesh into whatever the team is doing. And I think he has a great intuitive understanding of how he could help a really high basketball IQ guy in that regard. So that's all been positive. But again, I'll note, like, he needs to be a better shooter. And if down the line the Sixers are fortunate enough to be in the playoffs and Paul George has multiple 2 for 9, 3 for 10 games, he'll receive just criticism for that because he needs to be better than that in high stakes moments. But obviously now we're in just this period where he's trying to get his feet under him and adjust to basketball at age 35. And overall, I'd say it's been positive, even if the shooting consistency is not yet where we'd want it to be.
Yeah, a little bit of the luster has come off this Sixers team here. They are 9-7. Of course, the hot start, they came back to earth a little bit, but in all of that, we have gotten a Jared McCain game that we can really kind of enjoy here, although it did come in a loss. before we get to his health status, was there any update on VJ and his left calf tightness? He missed his first game here in this last matchup against the Heat.
Yeah, I mean, nothing new on Edgecombe as of 4:30. We'll get an injury report at 5:30 when this podcast is probably out. Nick Nurse said it's precautionary, just something that Edgecombe reported at the end of the Milwaukee game. So I think it would be surprising if it's an extended absence for him. But of course, he had tons and tons of minutes under his belt as a rookie, and something was bound to pop up sooner or later. So yeah, it was, the Sixers were in a tough spot. I think kind of wild to just realize how much they rely on this 20-year-old rookie, but you could tell how much was different. And Quentin Grimes had to get his first start of the year, and then Grimes got into foul trouble against Miami, and that really hurt the Sixers. So they will be happy whenever he's back, and I would assume that soon, barring some unexpected downturn. So I would think they'll have him back against the Orlando Magic, and yeah, they'll definitely be happy to be able to start him again and have some simpler decisions with that guard rotation.
Amy, Jared McCain with his best game since returning from injury, so no Edgecombe, maybe more minutes and opportunity in that regard in 26 minutes of action for Jared McCain. Of course, we know he played the 2 G League games. It seems like the rust has been shaken off for him a bit, particularly with the way he looked against the Heat. There were step back threes, there were runners, there was catch and shoot opportunities. He ends up 5 of 11, 3 for 4 from 3, a rebound, an assist, 2 assists, and a steal. Did you look at that as great, something for him to build on moving forward, or did you feel like it was a role that he might not have and minutes he might not have gotten had Edgecombe been available?
Yeah, it's interesting. Nick Nurse had said before the game against the Heat that the minutes restriction was lifted a bit, a little bit longer time out there for Jared McCain. And you wondered if it was because McCain was ready for it, health-wise and rust-wise, or if it was because there was no VJ Edgecombe. And the answer is probably yes to both of those. But yeah, I mean, I would think he's going to be in that probably under 26 minutes, between 20 and 25. But yeah, I mean, the minutes game for these guards is something that is going to be watched when you have VJ Edgecombe back. Quentin Grimes averages, about 33 minutes, 32 to 33 minutes or so. So there's a lot of competition, I guess, at that spot. It was fun to see McCain obviously back in somewhat of the form that we saw at the beginning of last season. I think also he enjoyed the pace of that Heat game. That was a frenetic game. That game was all about rebounding and running, and it played into what he liked to do, certainly, but the Sixers just ran out of gas. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It would have been nice to have VJ Edgecombe's defense, but I thought Jared McCain did a really nice job, both on defense and offense. Offensively, his shot looked better. His first game back after the G League stint, it still wasn't quite there, so maybe it's just extended minutes for him. He just needs to get a little bit more under his belt. But going forward, you wonder, there are certain matchups that can dictate that you can run more guards out there. And so you have more playing time for those guys. And in other matchups, it doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see going forward against some of the rangier and longer teams, how they try to combat that against the Magic are an example. Obviously, they're very long and have some real size in their 4 and their 5 and their 3. For that matter, and they're 2. They have some size. I was going through their roster on that one. It's kind of like the Raptors, but they have a little bit more of some size down low. So it'll be interesting going forward. I want to see Jared McCain get back to where he was. The guy was the front runner for Rookie of the Year before his season got derailed with injury.
And he was fun and engaging.
Yeah.
And
it's just when these guys, and I joke about it, but it really is true. The vibes in that locker room are a little bit better. It would have been weird. Noah mentioned that they came out. So when you walk into the practice facility, they're still shooting around. Guys are shooting everywhere. There's all kinds of baskets, obviously, right? So there's people working on 3-pointers, people shooting free throws. And so it would have been very strange to walk out today, and I'm sure that Noah felt it, to walk out and be like, there's no one doing anything? Like, you guys just stopped. You don't want us to see anything, which is fine, whatever. You don't see much of those things anyway, but that would have been very odd, because I think the vibes this year have been very good because guys like Jared McCain have been back, and VJ Edgecombe, I think, brings that too. And obviously Tyrese Maxey being healthy. It's disappointing if you want him to do well. So I want Jared McCain to do well. You just hope that he's going to be able to get the time on the court.
Yeah, no, I think it was it was a real significant step for him. I think a lot of it honestly just boils down to trust in his knee. I mean, he's been as candid as it gets through this entire process about, when he started out, he felt shaky. He felt like he was going to fall over. Now he doesn't have to deal with the bulky brace. He just has that sleeve on his knee, feels more mobile. He said his bump mid-range is a shot that he really loves, and he's feeling more confident in that again. So I think a lot of it we don't really need to overthink. It's just the knee is feeling better, and he is remembering what it's like to do things without any hesitation or any pain or any doubt in himself. And I think his confidence is obviously a huge part of what makes him great. When he's flowing, he believes that everything he puts up is going in, and he gets in that state where he's kind of unstoppable as a scorer. So he feels like he's moving back in that direction, and I think it's very nice for him to actually see some tangible results suggesting that indeed he still has that ability, and sooner or later it's all going to start clicking a little bit better for him. So yeah, we'll keep tabs on those minutes. I think it feels like there should be some logical solutions here where Jared McCain playing a little better should mean a little bit of a lighter load for Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, but obviously Nick Nurse is big on game-to-game decision-making and also just being pretty ruthless about whatever it takes to win each game. So if McCain continues playing well, he'll absolutely continue getting significant minutes, but I think it becomes a little trickier if he does not, and that's where there's more of a spotlight on Nick Nurse and his decision-making.
And there, Jared McCain was finding himself caught in the middle of Scotty Barnes' signature move, the blow-a-kiss fast break dunk. Jared McCain was, and then I'm like, after the game, I'm like, he did something. I couldn't quite figure it out. And then Ball is Life had a compilation from high school all the way through
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes blowing kisses to guys.
Yeah, I think I'd seen it before, but I didn't know it went back to high school.
My boy,
I definitely listen when you got to move.
Petty. He is petty.
You got to move.
Jared McCain got swept up in that. That was on the day of our last podcast, but pretty funny all the same. We will talk more about what is going on with these 76ers, and we have buried the lead a little bit because Tyrese Maxey went in fuego against the Bucks and rubbed it in Doc Rivers' face.
Thank you.
As much as
Mark Jackson and I were like, how's no one pointing this out? Like, I would look at Doc the entire time.
He said he can't wait to talk about that the next time they get together. But let's show some love to our title sponsor, Wilmington University. They've been with us here every step of the way. December open house. Chat, browse, and apply at Wilmington University's virtual open house on December 3rd. Details at wilmu.edu/open house. Spring classes start January 12th. Register today. Man, having kids in college and thinking about those days of college,
you go.
I don't know if I don't lament not being in school anymore. But shout out to those who are.
Shout out, you get ready, you're on break, and you have another break coming up. Finish strong, everybody. Finals are coming up. Just like Danny did. He always finished strong with his finals.
My youngest daughter just ran the Philly half marathon. Shout out to her. Shout out Bella. She worked 7 straight days leading up to the marathon. Now she's off for 7 straight, just around the house. Just
she earned it, Daniel.
I walk in, she's sleeping on the couch.
Do you remember those days?
You know what? Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Like, our parents didn't know. There was. I saw something the other day, and someone was just like, "Why? Our generation, whatever. I don't know what Gen Z, whatever we are. It was like Gen X, I guess, and it was or millennials, and there's like, oh, you always talk about how you drank from the hose. Like, why couldn't you use a faucet? Because we weren't allowed inside.
Yeah,
we weren't allowed
if you
inside.
Came back inside. You had to stay inside.
Yeah, that was it. You're gonna find something to do in here, and you're not gonna like it. Right. So you stay outside. We were not allowed inside. It's a completely different thing. They're like, why couldn't you use the faucet? I'm like, because you were outside.
She was like, Dad, you got in a little late last night. I was like, mind your business. Like,
yo,
I'm here late doing after Sunday night football.
You got in a little late. Right. She's keeping tabs on you.
Sleeping on the couch.
Well, turnabout's fair play, Bella.
21-year-olds keeping tabs on me. But all the same, shout out to our 20-year-old Sixers all-star or MVP candidate, Tyrese Maxey, a 54-point eruption against the Bucks. And this is our first time to talk about it all together, guys. But man, how fantastic was it to watch the torch he had out there? And one particular move was the step back three he had with who was in his face? Was it Bobby Portis? Yeah, yeah. There we go. So the step back three from the logo. He had a couple of logo shots.
Yeah, he did.
But man, just very reminiscent of Allen Iverson, man.
But the efficiency was way
better.
Way up.
I think 18 of 30. Is that what it
way
was?
Up. Yeah. But, in defense of Allen Iverson, the three wasn't people didn't shoot the three like they did when he was playing. So I'm sure his would have been.
Any goosebumps watching that, guys? Do you get like that? Woo! Like, man, like the hair on the back of your neck type of thing.
How is he at? Right? Because I was kind of like, you looked at it and was like, how is he at? And then you thought, oh, wow, he's over 35.
And they needed all of them. They needed all of them.
They needed all of his 54. They needed all of Paul George's first 11. You needed every single bit of those. But yeah, when a guy's on a heater like that, it's so easy to get caught up. You kind of don't realize it. And I think it was after the second logo three. And I was like, what's he shooting? And then I was like, yo, you guys know where he's at right now, points wise. And it was almost like you wanted to say it, but you didn't want to say it because you knew he was coming.
It's like a guy with a no-hitter.
Yeah, it's like it's a career high and you're going for it. But as soon as you make that Google search, like, what's Tyrese Maxey's career high? And you press, enter to try to look it up. I feel like I was going to jinx him, but luckily I didn't have to do that. It was already shouted out like 85 times in the newsroom. So
12 of 14 from the free throw line.
And the only 9 two were misses early.
The Wilt Chamberlain stat, Amy. What's the
Wilt Chamberlain stat? You ready for this? So there's only 2 players in Sixers history that have had 50 or more points and 9 or more assists. 2, Wilt in 1968, March of 1968, and then Tyrese Maxey of the night. And there's only one person on set that would have seen both of those, and that would have been Jim Lynam. Jim Lynam would have been a witness to both of those.
What a legend.
Incredible. That's an incredible stat. And the whole stat line, though, Daniel, he's the only player to do that with the 54, the 9, the steals, the blocks, all of that. He's the only player ever to have created that stat line. Because most of the time, if you're shooting 50, if you're making 50 buckets or whatever, scoring 50 points, you're not also having 9 assists. And you're probably also not doing much work on the defensive end either. But he's 3 blocks, 3 steals, 54 points, 9 assists. No one's ever done it.
He's also playing a ridiculous amount of
40 plus minutes.
I mean, is the guy being overworked a little bit in this time? How are we feeling about? I mean, we talked about it in previous podcasts. We know Nick Nurse's MO from his experience with the Raptors and Van Vliet and Kyle Lowry and et cetera. But listen, I mean, these minutes, the amount of shots he's putting up, it's a lot. Yeah, he's just playing basketball, a quote we've heard Tyrese Maxey say in the past. But are you worried about him being overworked at all?
I mean, it's not my worry to have, but yeah, like it's very like logical to think that someone who's playing 3 minutes per game more than anyone in the NBA is going to have a higher injury risk. There's obviously like the fluky stuff, seemingly like the shoulder little issue that popped up in the Heat game. He said he was just reaching out for a steal and then it wasn't comfortable the rest of the game. And then there's the soft tissue workload kind of problems. I do think, of course, it's notable that he's very well equipped to mitigate the risk there because he's probably the best conditioned athlete in the league. So it seems like in terms of what he's able to do up until the point of fatigue, it's almost infinite, right? So that there's not problems where maybe the stride becomes a little different or, some of those, biomechanical risks pop up that lead you to become a little more likely to get injured when you're wiped out near the end of a game. That just doesn't seem applicable to him, which is incredible. But yeah, if we're just talking about the reality of how this tends to go, there's a risk here. And the Sixers are hoping that nothing bad happens and kind of crossing their fingers in that regard. But look, obviously we remember with that Knicks team a couple of years back where it felt like there was just a deluge of injuries all at once. And that can happen when there's a huge minutes load. So yeah, not trying to be a downer at that, but just like trying to give a realistic assessment. I think that's all reasonable to note. But But yeah, like in the moment, just him doing his thing is fantastic to watch these days. And yes, this was a heater, but I think it feels somewhat typical now when he's at that 35, 40 mark. And that's Joel Embiid-ish. The consistency has been outstanding, which is even more astounding to me given that he's 6'2". And prior to this year, he wasn't great at drawing free throws. And coming off a year where
Just
he
not
was
getting the whistle.
below average from 3-point range, albeit for many good reasons, including that finger injury near the end of the year. But yeah, just so many factors that make this extraordinary, and certainly mean he's one of the best players in the league thus far, and he's going to keep hearing those MVP chants at the foul line. So better get used to those and better start making them. Joel Embiid's going to be on his case about that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how guys play at this prolific rate, just based on NBA history, and then 50, 40, 90 season. Like, you what? Like, you're in here out here scoring 40 and 50-point games and finishing with those type of percentages, which Tyrese Maxey is clawing around those edges, but still, just to think like a season with Durant like that, or Dirk, or guys that perform, Larry Bird, like with that type of clip of efficiency and have the game-winning shots and team leaning on them in crunch time and things like that. So there's definitely levels to this thing, man. There are levels, and Tyrese Maxey is scratching the very tippy top of it. So very fun to watch. Exciting to have him on the team. And I'm curious, guys. Here we are, a couple games coming up. Orlando and Brooklyn, NBA Cup stuff. Are Sixers fans interested in that? They haven't performed well in the NBA Cup based on past experience, injuries, and tough losses, etc. But how should fans take the NBA Cup? Is now the time to get into it? Will the Sixers be relevant
Sixers
there?
are not in the NBA Cup. They will not be in the NBA Cup right this year.
No,
they're participating in it.
Yes.
They will not be. They will not be in the knockout rounds, or they will not be continuing on in the NBA Cup.
So what should they do in that lull?
You still have to play. Well, they put games in. You still play basketball games. Most of the people that I talk to, and I'm sure you guys see it, whether it's on social media or you see them out and about, they don't know it's an NBA Cup game until they tune in and they look at the wonky court.
Yes,
that's it, and they'll be like, "Oh, there you go. I didn't know that."
Hear more complaints about that court.
Well, nothing will beat the Timberwolves court. That is the worst court. It's an assault on the eyeballs.
The color of the court was reflects off of their faces.
And all, of course, like in TV, all we can think about is like using that video for something else like later. You can't use it. It's unusable video because it's going to look so strange, and you're having to explain why it looked like that. And it's one of those things like what's happening. But I feel like the NBA Cup I like it. It's in its kind of nebulous.
The idea of it.
Yeah. Like, oh, whatever. But it's never really translated as well as I think it could. I think it's still very confusing for people how
guys love the money.
Pool play. Yeah, listen, there's some people that some player I clicked on. It was like a random Heat player. Of course it was, because it's some guy that we didn't know anything about. And then he goes up and, probably torched the Sixers for 20-something points. But I was before the game and I clicked on his page and it had like the NBA Cup champion. I think the year the Bucks won it. And I was like, good for you. Because that was like a really good payday for that guy. It was like a gentleman who was a two-way player. And I can't remember who it was, but I randomly clicked on it. And I was like, I don't think that Giannis is putting that on his Wikipedia page, but I do understand that it is important for some of the players and it is a payday. And I like the idea behind of having some interest early on. But the Sixers have not ever been in the NBA Cup. They've always been eliminated from.
They don't play from the 7th to the 19th.
Well, they will play, Daniel. We already have those games. They put it, so you don't have the updated schedule. So Noah and I can tell you they've got some games that will either happen on the 12th or the 14th. Probably the 12th or the 14th, because 13th would be an NBA knockout game. And so they want to make sure that everybody that's playing on the 13th is an NBA Cup game. So they'll play on the 12th and the 13th, and there's another one. So you still have 82 games.
So should fans pay attention? Should it be?
It's still a game. You still need to win games. Still need to get.
So whether the NBA Cup or not, whether they're in the money, whether they're going to Vegas, whether they get a chance.
They're not going to. They're not. They're 0-2. They're not. They cannot get there because it's the top teams from each pod. And then there's point differential for the other teams. And the Sixers, though, have a small point differential. they don't have a single win yet, so they're not going to be in there. But you should still pay attention. It's still basketball.
Still regular basketball.
Still counts.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, extremely unlikely
Outside
scenario
Right.
where they win, the Orlando game by 40 points. They win their final cup game by 50 points, and that means they have the best point difference of a
That would be
group
something.
winner in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, they're not technically eliminated. I think they would be firmly eliminated with a loss tomorrow. I was even jokingly asking today, like, could they play spoiler? Is there some sort of angle there? I don't think that's really the case yet. They're at the very bottom of their group as things stand. And yeah, the cup just has not worked out in their favor thus far. I do think it's the kind of thing, though, where if it happens to be the year, the ball bounces your way in the cup, it seems like individual fan bases are enthusiastic about that, as they should be. I'm sure that would be the case in Philadelphia, but I also think it feels safe to say this is not the Sixers' year, and their final 2 cup games are basically just regular season basketball games, which is fine. They all count at the end of the day, and obviously, as we've talked about, does not seem improbable that the East is very tight at the end of the year, and there could be, a game or two separating the second seed and the 6th seed or what have you. So, and certainly with the Sixers coach, they're not going to be treating any individual game lightly. They're going to be going as hard as they possibly can to try to win all of these. And finally had one that didn't go down to the very, very wire against Miami, but obviously the vast majority of games this season have been ones, just again, from a neutral standpoint, that are interesting in the sense of you have no idea what the outcome's going to be with 30 seconds left. So that seems to be the norm for the Sixers team.
Right. You add in the Milwaukee when like all the games have
They love it.
Have half
Down
of them.
10 going into the 4th. We got this. Don't you worry about it. Bad third quarter, check.
Right.
Actually, the Heat game was one of their better third quarters. They only lost it by 2, which was impressive because I don't think they scored for the first 4 minutes of the third. So that's saying something. That's where we're at with the third quarter, which is just confounding.
Yeah.
And you talk to the players afterward, they're like, we don't know. We don't know why we can't come out in the third, but they do, and it's consistent.
I mean, they've been changing the starting lineup, I think, now for 4
4
games in a row to start the third quarters. I think it's been definitely effective in one of the games, I believe. I think it was the Detroit game, right, where Barlow came in there, and then Oubre was also in enforced absence because of injury. Outside of that hasn't done the trick. I think it's been a decent idea, but yeah, Nick Nurse is running through some ideas here, and nothing seems to stick as an effective solution in the third quarters. I think there's obviously some randomness to it, as we've talked about, but parts of it, still seem to be kind of mystifying that it's just still this large of a problem almost every single game. It's kind of wild.
Sixers are on NBC tomorrow.
That's right.
So are you doing pre and post, or what's the?
No, we don't do pre and post. I will be here.
Okay.
I might go down. I don't know. I'm supposed to do Bird's Huddle, but depending on when Nick Nurse, I would love to. I never get to go to the press conferences because I'm always doing pre and post.
They're all yours.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Maybe I'll see Noah there if I'm allowed to go. They might not let me out. Generally, I try to stay in this little square box. I go over to the practice facility. I'm always like, oh, look at this. It's so nice to be outside.
Prime time though. But let's hope the Sixers.
We're back on Black Friday with Daniel. You're the host.
Oh, I will be. Yes, I will be the host as the Sixers and the Brooklyn Nets get it on. We will hope that is a Sixers win, and they can string a couple W's here together after losses in the Raptors game as well as the Miami Heat, an OT win against Milwaukee. Let's get some regulation. Easy breezy.
Nice, easy win.
Yeah, there we go. We're hoping for that. We're out of time here on the Sixers Talk podcast, brought to you by Wilmington University. WilMU Works. For Amy Fadul and Noah Levick, I'm Danny Pomels. Check out Noah's work on NBC Sports Philadelphia.com.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We'll see you next time.